satyeshu abhignaswarat tene brahma hridaya adihavaye mokshiyantiyah surayah tejo vari mritam yata vinimayo yatra trisargo mrita dhamna svena sada nirastakuham satyam param dhimahi dharma prochita kaitava atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam vastavam atra vastu sivadan tapatrayon moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrit Kimva Parair Ishwarah Sadyo Hridi Avarutyate Atra Kritivihi Sushu Sivitakshanat Nihama Kalpataro Kalitam Palam Sukamkad Amrudam Driva Samyutam Bhibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Huraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivanarotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudirayet Vasudeve Bhavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Yaccha Agaitukam Shunvatam Sokata Krishna Punya Savana Kirtanah Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suvrit Satam Atra Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Vasudeve Para Veda Vasudeva Paramakaha Vasudeva Para Yoga Vasudeva Para Kriyaha Vasudeva Param Jnanam Vasudeva Param Tapah Vasudeva Paro Dharma Vasudeva Para Gatihi Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakinandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranama Dukkha Samanastam Namami Harim Param. We are going to do today a continuation of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, fourth chapter, verse number 15. The chapter is entitled as The Appearance of Sri Narada. So I don't know if you all can see the font. It's a little small for me. Can increase little? Is it max you can increase? Okay. Sakadachit saraswatyat upasprisya jalam suchihi viviktayeka asina udite ravimandale. So before we do this, let's do a invocation prayer and then we can all recite this particular sloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'll read one more time, two more times, and then anyone would like to follow, please recite. Sakadachit saraswatya upasprisya jalam suchihi viviktayeka asina udite ravimandale. Sakadachit saraswatya upasprisya jalam suchihi viviktayeka asina udite ravimandale. Anyone?
Sakadachit saraswatya upasprisya jalam suchihi viviktayeka asina udite ravimandale.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sakadachit saraswatya upasprisya jalam suchihi vivikta eka asina udite ravimandale.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So let's see the meaning of word by word and then the translation. Saha, he, kadachit, once, saraswatyaha, on the bank of Saraswati, the Saraswati. Upasprisya, after finishing morning ablutions, jalam, water, suchihi, being purified, vivikte, concentration, ekaha, alone, asinaha, being thus seated, udite, on the rise, Ravi Mandale, of the sun disk. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Glories to Prabhupada. Translation. Once upon a time, he, Vyasadeva, as the sun rose, took his morning ablation in the waters of the Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. Purport. The river Saraswati is flowing in the Badrika Ashrama area of the Himalayas. So the place indicated here is Sampya Prasha in the Badrika Ashrama, where Sri Vyasadeva is residing. Ajnanam timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Sri Guruve namaha. Sri Chaitanya manobishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupak kadhamahyam tadati swapadhantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagahana Raghunathanvitam Tamsa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagahana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Harir Nama ye kevalam kalo nasteva gadiranyataha. So one more time, let me recite this sloka, very beautiful, nice sloka, and we'll start our class. Sakadachit sarasvatya upasprisya jalam suchihi viviktayeka asina uditera vimandale. Once upon a time, he, Vyasadeva, as the sun rose, took his morning ablution in the waters of Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. And in the purport, Prabhupada says that this is located in Badrika Ashrama in the areas of Himalayas, where Srila Vyasadeva is residing. As not was residing, he says is residing. So here the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Saunaka Rishi, is inquiring to Sutta Goswami what he learned from Sukadeva Goswami when this was delivered to Parikshit Maharaj. And it's interesting to know that how when their great sages like Saunaka Rishis or even Parikshit Maharaj for that matter, they all ask questions. The questions that they ask is not only benefits them, but it benefits the entire world. Therefore, we learn the very first thing is our tradition and our philosophy is completely based on question and answers. Many times we are only focused on answer, or many times we are only focused on the questions. We may have multiple questions, but we may pay less attention to the answers that's been provided to question A, rather than we are preparing ourselves to how to frame the question B and miss out the answer for question A. So here it's all documented. When they ask, they pay attention. So listening is an ability, very important ability. Rather than processing when someone is speaking, completely focus on what is being told. It's a skill, listening skill. So we try to most of the time defend ourselves or try to articulate what we are going to speak next. But then the fact is that we try to give our time to hearing what is being told first. Then if we need some time to ask the second question, or you want to follow up with the first one, then you ask time so we can process it and frame the next question. So Suta Goswami was very pleased by the Saunaka Rishis, by their mood of submissiveness and mood of inquiry for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of everyone. Therefore, we learn that when we ask questions, it has to be mostly generic question, because when the generic question is asked, it benefits everyone. When there are some specific question, not that we should not ask, that is also can play a second role when we are in a public place, when you are asking some things. And also when we are asking questions, we should make sure that who is around us, the audience. We cannot ask Brahmasutra questions when there are our Sunday school children are there, right? So it's not going to make any sense to them. So we also have to be very aware what type of questions we are asking, considering our environment. So therefore we place a question accordingly, because it's really going to disturb others otherwise, thinking that they are left out or they don't know what's been discussed between the speaker and the inquirer. Therefore, it's important. Some question may be taken offline, privately, and discussed in detail. But that is a point. Whereas in the Bhagavatam, we see the question that's been asked is so very generic, which can be learned and applied and heard by everyone. And in this section that where we are here is Vyasadeva appeared in the previous verse. After that, the verse goes in this one saying that Sakadachit Saraswatyat Kadachit. Immediately, what he did was he just immediately means there are many things happen in between. So that's all skipped. But at one point of time, at one time, he just got to the river of Saraswati. Kadachit Saraswatyat Upasprishya Jalam Suchihi. Upasprishya means cleansing oneself, cleaning oneself. Before we do anything, we have to clean ourselves externally first. If there is no external, we are going to talk about these things in detail as we go into this discussion. Unless and we clean ourselves externally, we cannot expect the internal cleanliness. So we have to externally be clean. Upasprishya. And what has been said is he took Achmanam, doing Keshavaya Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Narayanaya Namaha, Achyutaya, Anantaya, Govindaya. So he just did Achmanam. Achmanam with what? Jalam. Jalam means water. Why? Suchihi. He wants to cleanse himself. And then Vivikta Eka Asina. Then he went to a place, a secluded place, to completely contemplate, to completely meditate, concentrate, dhyana, by sitting in a place. So sitting is an important thing. As we are hearing to some things like this, how we sit makes the message effective. So if we all understand, I'm not going to get into the details of how to sit and what to do and things like that. So asina, udite at the rose of Ravihi. Ravihi means the sun, mandale. The mandala, as the sun rose up, he decided, went there and started concentrating over there. Who is this Vyasadeva? Has been discussed by this previous speakers very beautifully, very nicely. Many speakers said, Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram Shakte Pautra Kalmasham Parasaratmajam Vande Sukha Tatam Taponidim. We have some lineage. I'm born to my father. My father is born to my grandfather. My grandfather is born to my great-grandfather. Like that, a lineage is there. And I have a son. My son may have another son. And that is, it goes on, the lineage goes ups and downs. Whereas in many of the situations, someone may have a forefather lineage, which is great. but they may not have a next generation. Great. They may be completely out of tradition, out of culture. They may completely gone. Completely gone. I was just someone whom I was just talking to a couple of days back were came from Bengal and they settled here, very well established, very nice, devoted family, cultured family, but their two kids converted into, taken up Christianity, which just broke their heart. So our forefathers may be great, but our future generation may not be. Or the future generation may be great, our forefather may not be. Or the forefather may be great and future generation may be great, I may not be great. So these three things coming together is quite a matter. In case of Vyasadev is great grandson of Vashishta. Vashishta, who himself is a son of Brahma. And then Vyasa is a grandson of Shakti, another great rishi. And he himself, Vyasa, is son of Parasara. And who is his son? Sukha. Therefore, the past lineage and the future and he himself are all great. Not only that, Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahma Nidaye Vasishthaya Namo Namaha. Vyasadev is the Avesha avatar of Vishnu. So there's no difference between both of them. And what is given to us, what he has done to the society, we have no way to repay him. This is also was discussed. Whatever I'm saying is just a collection that I learned from you all, from the previous speakers. So I'm just repeating what you all said. Kindly allow me to say a few words to get to this point of what we are going to discuss today. So Vyasadev did a great work called Brahmasutra, Vedanta Sutra. Krishna, if you remember the story from Bhagavatam, Krishna churned the ocean by using Mandara mountain on top of the turtle. And then he churned the ocean and he got many things out of it. And Vyasa also churned, but he did not churn the ocean, he churned the Upanishad. It churned the Upanishad with, not with the Mandara mountain, but it Mati, with his buddhi, with his intellect, with his intelligence. He churned the Upanishad, he churned it, and then came out a product called Brahmasutra, Vedanta Sutra, which is very, very important. And that Brahmasutra, which is very, very difficult to understand because it's just one liner. And anyone can make any interpretation to the one liner. Therefore, easy way to understand Brahmasutra is by going through the commentary of Brahmasutra. Again, the commentaries are many. How do we know which commentary we have to take? Therefore, the best commentary for Brahmasutra, Vedanta Sutra, is nothing other than Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam. It is nothing but simply a commentary of Vedanta Sutra. In fact, the greatness of Vyasadev is told by his own father. His father glorifies who else in the world can be so great than my friend, my son who wrote Bharatam. Bharatam is Mahabharata. 125,000 slokas. And he's completely renounced. If we memorize one sloka, if we memorize one chapter, we want to make sure 10 people watches us. If we know some stotra, we want to make sure we come into the public and we recite that so people can appreciate how well I reciting the stotra, Krishna Ashtakam or Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yoga, or Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam slokas, etc. But 125,000 slokas, can't even imagine he wrote. It's just not writing and leaving. He knows it by heart. So Parasara was glorifying his own son. Actually, in the Dharma Shastra, as per the Dharma, it is said how to glorify someone. The scripture, whom to glorify and when to glorify. The scripture says the spiritual master, one's own guru, must be glorified in front of him. The guru should be in front, and we have to glorify the guru in front of everyone. That is a glorification should be given to guru. Second is, when you have a labor working for you, someone is coming and doing a work for you, you assign some labor work, contract, whatever it is. You do not appreciate the worker unless and until the task is completed. After the task is completed, you thank the person, you appreciate, you glorify, do whatever you want. And it is also said the relatives and friends should be appreciated after they leave the home, not when they are present in the home. After they leave the home, or after they leave the group, wherever they're present, that's when we have to glorify the relatives and friends, not in the front. And interestingly, the Dharma Shastra also says, it says that guru should be glorified in the front, the servants should be glorified after the work, the relatives and friends should be glorified after they leave, and the children should never be glorified. The children should never be glorified. If I tell this one, please apply this now, 2022, it's not going to be practical at all. Now, you just ask our son or child to go get some glass of water. We have to use, can you please get me a glass of water? Please should be there. Go get me a water. You can't tell this one. You have to add please as a prefix. After if at all, by their causeless mercy, they heard what we said. Many times children hear everything what we speak, whether they are present in our presence or not, they know what we are talking, right? They are omnipresent. Next to Paramatma, children are omnipresent because they somehow or the other get all the information, what parents talk, what they talk on the phone, what they do this one. So there's second Paramatma in the house if you are not aware of it. So be careful. Now, what I was trying to say is when you ask a child, if they hear, but if at all out of their causeless mercy, they decided to get the glass of water, they bring and give it to us, we have to make sure that we say thanks. If you don't say thanks, you offended that child, your son, your daughter. So parents, if we have to thank parent, just imagine how can we even pay what the parents have done to us. Rest of our life, we have to keep on thanking them. Whether the parent is of our favor or parent is not of our favor. Parent appreciates us, parent doesn't appreciate us. We have a good parent or I wouldn't say bad parent, but parent doesn't meet our expectation. But still, we, irrespective of however it is, we have to be very thankful and respectful to our parents. Otherwise, whatever we learn from the Prahlad story, Bhakta Prahlad story, it will be only theoretical. Prahlad exhibited this one. So the question is, didn't Parasara Muni didn't know that he has to be detached from glorifying his son? He didn't know that one should not glorify his son publicly? He knows very well, but he is not glorifying his son because he is his son, is born from him. He is glorifying his son because he is a good devotee, great devotee. Therefore, we should take and understand this thing, when to glorify, when not. Even when I just remember Ramayana, in Ramayana, when Lord Ramachandra meets Janaka Maharaj, and first introduction to Mother Sita, and then Janaka also does the same. He glorifies his daughter, Iyam Sita, Mama Sutta. He says, my daughter, this is my daughter. Well, one should not have ahankar. One should never have ahankar. But here, full of ahankar. Janaka says, this is my daughter. Parasara says, this is my son Vyasa. Well, that ahankar is accepted. They are not basing their ahankar because this is born to me. He came out of me is an extension of my body. Therefore, I'm attached to my son, attached to my daughter. They are my life and soul. Well, good. More than that is we can have those attachment. We can have that. We can glorify our children, provided they are devotees. They are devotees. Unnecessarily, unwantedly, we don't want to glorify anyone. Simply glorifying for the sake of glorifying is by itself wrong. Only we have to glorify those who are worth of glorifying. Stotram. Stotram means glorification. Stotra Priyaha. Krishna is called, he has another name called Stotra Priyaha, means he loves to be glorified. Krishna loves to be glorified. We are all coming from Krishna, part and parcel. Therefore, we also like to be glorified. Nothing wrong. But then are we worth of being glorified? We have to think ourselves. That is why whenever someone says something to us, we say immediately what we say, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to me. All glories to my, we don't come in the front to be glorified. Prabhupada Maharaj said in one of his lectures in the series that he came here, we are not here to gain respects. That is not our program in Krishna consciousness. We are not here to gain respect. That is the least that we are bothered about. The respect and glorification comes to those who doesn't want to be glorified and respected. That's an important point. Right? The more we work towards getting respects and glorification, the more pressure on us. It's more pressure on us. We won't want to be in pressure, right? None of us want to be in pressure. We want to be a happy, as they say, happy free bird, right? We don't want to be in pressure, but we work towards being in a mood of servant. And Krishna gives us glorification. Krishna gives us all that is needed in our life, only for those who are least bothered about glorification and respect. So Vedavyasa, out of kindness, he indexed, he categorized the entire Vedas to us. Otherwise, it would have been very, very difficult for us to study Vedas. Even now, we don't study Vedas anyways. Even after doing all those things, we don't study anyway, right? So not only that, he also wrote the great epic, as we said, Mahabharata. If Vedavyasa has not written Mahabharata, guess what? No ISKCON. There's no ISKCON. And that's a fact, because the teachings of our philosophy, Gaudiya Sampradaya, it's just not ISKCON for them. But I have to be very specific. I want to say this one, that it is not just ISKCON. It is any spiritual schools of thought coming in the Vedic system, whether it's Advaitam, whether it's Dvaitam, whether it's Vishishtadvaitam, whether it's Achinta Veda, Abheda Tattva, whether it's Suddha Tattva, many schools of thought, right? None of those things can base their philosophy without Mahabharata, existing of Mahabharata. Why? Because Mahabharata within itself got Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is an essence of every Upanishad. Sarva Upanishado Gavaha Dokta Gopala Nandana Parthavatsu Sudhir Bhokta Duktam Gita Mritam Mahat. So all the essence of Ved, all the essence of the Upanishads are squeezed and condensed into one book, literature called Bhagavad Gita. And who gave that Bhagavad Gita? We can tell Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, right? No, it is Veda Vyasa. Krishna must have spoken and gone. If Veda Vyasa wouldn't have documented it, no way we know what Krishna spoke. No way what we know Krishna. Therefore, the purpose of Veda Vyasa's birth is to serve the humanity. His appearance is completely for the benefit of humanity. So we should also think ourselves, am I useful in some way or the other to the society? What am I doing to help the society? All these years, all this while, we have been only thinking about ourselves. What going to happen to me? How can I be happy? What will make me happy? Can this person make me happy? Can that person make me happy? Right? We're just centralized, self-centered. Then we came to a next level of extending ourselves. Not only I have to be happy, my husband, my wife, my mother, my father, my children, my grandchildren, they should also be happy. Only they should be happy. That we constrained. We extended, but we constrained into our family member. Then the knowledge grows, and he said, why only my family member, my caste, my jati, whatever the jati is, right? My jati, my people around, let me work. That's why we have many groups like that. And then why only my jati? Why people who talk in my language? Telugu Association, Tamil Association, Malayalam Association, and many associations. Only those people associate with this respective thing. And broader than, why only the language? Why can't we think of as a country? Then our knowledge grows further. Why only country? Why not for this world, benefit of the world, irrespective of the nation, color, gender, language, culture, any of this thing? Why don't I be use of this for this world in some way or the other? How to make useful of my birth, myself first. First of all, we should, as Prabhupada always says, we are drowning ourselves. How can I help others? Therefore, we have to save ourselves. At least we have to come to the shore, seashore, so that we can do something, right? Therefore, we need to know how to make useful for the life, useful for ourselves by engaging in devotional service and by chanting Krishna's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So how to make useful our life useful? By engaging in devotional service and by chanting. And how can I be useful for others? By engaging them in devotional service and making them to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have to do something for others also. That is called Pancha Mahayagya. Very important. And when we read Prabhupada's purport in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita in 47th, I believe, 46th or somewhere, Prabhupada in the purport, he says, there's Pancha Mahayagya, Deva Yagya, Bhuta Yagya, Manusha Yagya, and so forth. Devotees should not be worried about getting into this one. And we take that statement to the heart. Therefore, we don't take care of Manushya, we don't take care of other living entities, we don't worry about doing proper pujas to the devas, we don't worry about Rishi Puja, we don't worry about doing the showing our gratitude to the Rishi. That is not what it means when Prabhupada says devotees should not get into the Pancha Mahayagya. What that statement is for the people who are in the level, high standard of Parama Bhakti, the highest stage of Bhakti, where it's not that they don't want to do, they don't have time to care of these things. That's why they don't want to do. We have to understand this one. They're not ignoring purposefully. Their consciousness is so immersed 24/7, 365 days, only about Krishna. They can't even see, they can't even think of whether there's a Deva exists, Manusha exists, Rishis exist, a Bhuta exists. They don't even know these things. But we are not like that. We have to help the society. We have to do offer our proper respect to Devas and Devatas. Not that we have to be surrendered to them. We have to worship and pay our gratitude to the Rishis and all the mankind. Only human can do this one. Therefore, in this sloka, we should reciting this sloka one more time. Sakadachit sarasvatya upasprisya jalam suchihi viviktayeka asina udite ravi mandale. Here, if one wants to concentrate and do dhyana, meditation, whenever we hear this term meditation, for some reason devotees doesn't like this term meditation. They immediately relate the meditation into art of living, or I shouldn't have mentioned the names, but many different other spiritual organization where they teach meditation. Therefore, we think meditation is bad. We are not into meditation program. We are bhaktas. We chant Hare Krishna, which is greater than meditation. Well, we should understand without meditation, without dhyana, we are not going to progress spiritually. Meditation is an important factor. Contemplation. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. We contemplate on the vishaya matter, the sense objects. That is why we get entangled into the matters. But dhyayato, when we concentrate on atma, then we get attached to the atma. Where we spend our energy, time, and money, and everything, that's where we are going to be absorbed into. Therefore, dhyana is quite a very important practice in our Krishna consciousness. We have to take some time besides everything else, and then just sit for some time and meditate. And what to meditate about? Family problems, about how bad I'm being treated by the other devotees, or this devotee said that one, or my husband, my wife, my children are not cooperate. Do we have to meditate these things? We don't need to meditate on those things, because 24 hours, that's what we are meditating anyway. So we have to meditate on something which is going to remove our concerns and problems and give us some sort of an peace within us. And we can only obtain peace from one who has peace. Shantaha. Right? Only if you are we derive, someone was asking in Maharaj class, in the one of the class, that I'm not feeling, sometime I'm chanting, and the next time I'm not feeling the same level of enthusiasm. It varies. It's not that only person, that person is asking the question had that problem. Everyone is having the same problem. So what we do? Simple thing is we derive enthusiasm from the people who has enthusiasm. So we have to find people who are enthusiastic in serving Krishna. That is where we can get enthusiasm from. More we attach to those people, where we get enthusiasm. So here, the place has been mentioned. What is the place? Saraswati. Saraswati. Vyasa picked a place close to the Tirtha, the holy water. Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jale Yasmin Sannidhim Kuru. We say this every day before we take shower, because the water that we are taking is not holy water. Therefore, mentally before taking shower, we chant this mantra. We chant the sloka. Right? Let Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri, all those water come into this water that I'm going to take shower. So in that way, our consciousness goes and reaches out to those rivers, because rivers, holy waters, are auspicious. Auspicious. It is said that one has to live in a place where temple exists, or holy water exists, or devotees. If the place doesn't have either one of this, and that place is simply can be called as crematorium, where the dead bodies are burned into ashes. Right? So Saraswatya. And the next thing, what it is, Achmanam, Upastrishya, Jalam Suchihi. It does Achmanam. Achmanam is so very important. One has to purify oneself before starting any Vaidika karma. Any Vaidika karma. Vaidika karma means your deity worship, or even before anything that you do, cooking, anything that you try to do, we have to cleanse yourself. Prabhu, I'm already took shower and came. Doesn't matter. You may have taken a shower, but when you're going to start something directly with deities, related to deities, they have to take Achman. They have to do Achman. Achman is very important. So can I request everyone to be muted? I'm hearing some noise, please. Thank you. So, one has to be very clean in all the time, because that is what is going to increase our sattva guna. I don't know if you have noticed this one or not, but when Navayogendra Swami Maharaj came here a few months back, it's quite amazing, and how that after each and every class, when he wraps up, he pushes the mic aside, all is done, he asks for few drops of water. Why? To cleanse his hand, because he touched so many other things. So he keeps himself always clean. I know some devotees, they carry a sprayer, in a small spray they have, when they carry many things, they carry a small spray of water, and then they just wash their hand. If at all they have to do their Gayatri mantra, or if they have to open the Bhagavad Gita book or Bhagavatam or anything, we cannot touch any of the thing without cleansing ourselves. At least one has to do achmanam. If not, just wipe your hands off. So we see people poke their ears, poke their nose. They have to wash their hand. Sometimes I also observe in our temple that sometimes people busily, while listening to the lecture is going on, they start scratching and then fidgeting with their feet and all those things, and come straight to serving the prasadam, or touch others. So I was just telling to a kid that you finished your lunch, why don't you go and wash your hand? And this kid said that, Prabhu, I did not use my hand, I used the spoon. So it doesn't matter. There's a samyoga. Samyoga means there's a connection already happened from the hand to the mouth. When you put the spoon, there's a connection happen. Just by eating spoon doesn't mean you don't need to wash your hand. One have to wash their hand irrespective of however it is, right? So people have different ideas, but the thing is that one has to be clean. So the next thing is that Ravi Mandale, Udite Ravi Mandale. Udite Ravi Mandale means what is the best time for one to do japa, chanting, or any devotional aspect with full concentration, full focus, is the morning time. The morning time is the best time in the mode of goodness. Therefore, one should try to get up in the morning. Getting up morning is not an optional program for those who are in the path of Krishna, in the spiritual, in the path, not just in Krishna consciousness. Any spiritual practitioner, whether you are into Krishna consciousness or whether into any other consciousness within the spiritual umbrella, one must get up in the morning. Getting up morning is not an optional program. Prabhupada emphasizes very much on this one. Krishna consciousness movement requires, Prabhupada says that Krishna consciousness movement, we require means Prabhupada is telling, humbly saying that we, but actually saying I require, should be I, but Prabhupada is out of humility, he says we. Many times he uses we, he doesn't say I. So that exhibit is humility, by the way. But what Prabhupada is saying, that anyone in Krishna consciousness movement requires everyone to raise early in the morning, around 4 o'clock, and attend the Mangalarti program, right? And attend the Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtan, and have honor prasadam, and so forth. So raising up morning is not an option for any one of us in this call. We all have to get up in the morning, and get up and do what? Use it usefully to remember Krishna. The whole, as per the scriptures, that the whole day has been classified and divided into 5 parts: Abhigamanam, Upadhanam, Ijya, Swadhyaya, and then Yogam. These are the 5 things. The whole day is divided into 5. So Abhigamana means getting up in the morning, getting ready, and walking. Gamana means to go. Abhigamana means going closer to the deities, your puja room, wherever you're in a temple, right? Abhigamanam, going over there with a mode of service, with doing japa is also the same. Dhyana, archana, prayers, all those things are abhigamanam. Upadhana means then after that we collect the necessary ingredients for puja, for the worship. It can also include the cooking items, right? Upadhanam, ijya means important that we, after that, Bhagavata Aradhana means then we really worship the deities, do the necessary worship. Swadhyaya means then we study the scriptures. Every day one must study the scriptures. Whether it's Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, doesn't matter. We all have to make a habit of studying every day. Reading is important. One may be interested in just hearing, one may be just interested in reading. But believe it or not, reading and hearing must go together. Swadhyaya is very important. And the last one is yogam. Yoga means linking oneself to the Supreme Lord. This is nothing but going to sleep. Sleeping time is called yoga. Yoga means not how we all sleep, like, oh, not that one. Thinking before going to bed, we think. We better before going to bed, we avoid any disturbing conversations. A phone call with someone, a message to someone, it is disturbing to others also, it's disturbing us also. So before going to bed, we should not be starting a new conversation at all, because it's going to disturb both the parties. So any conversation, let's start when the day starts, after our services are over, be in proper mind, right? So therefore, before going to bed, do not read news, watch TVs, and get into arguments with the spouse, children, or any devotees. So let's be in peace and let's go to sleep. That is called yogam. That's called yogam. Vivikta eka asina. It's already 7:52, and I'll try to cover this last, the third line. We covered the 3 lines out of 4 in the sloka. Now we go to the third line. Vivikta eka asina. Vivikta eka asina is where concentration. The concentration cannot happen. Concentration, nothing but focus. Focus is another way of dhyana, meditation. Focus cannot happen unless and until we have situated in a right place. If you have been disturbed, then we cannot focus on anything. Dhyana requires a place where there are no disturbances happens. So I was just in the morning, not today morning, in some time back, I was calling someone in the morning, and immediately I got a message saying, "Can I call you later?" I responded back, "Okay." And then that person responded back, "Thank you, Prabhu." And then after, as promised, that person kept up the promise. That person called me back and then apologized. "Prabhu, I'm very sorry. I couldn't take your call because I was chanting." Then I was thinking, well, you're chanting, but you're chatting, messaging. Right? Sending messages while chanting is also talking. So we think that only holding the beads and moving the lips and then having the phone sound, doing something, responding to the urgent, whatever the messages are, is nothing excused. Therefore, chanting in the consists of 3 forms: Uchchaihi, Upamsu, Manasika. These are the 3 ways that one can chant. I'll just, given the short time, I'll just quickly tell what this is. Uchchaihi means with a high pitch, loudly chanting Hare Krishna, chanting holy name of Krishna loudly. That is nothing but Harinam Sankirtan. Devotees goes on the street like we do over here in the Delmar Loop or any other places. People go to those spots, stand there and walks there and do kirtan. That's Uchchaihi, chants loudly. Upamsu means they don't go out and chant. They stay inside and chant, and that's called self-chanting. And the way that is not screaming out, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is Upamsu. This way of chanting called Upamsu. Manasika is this one. While I'm closed my eyes, I am chanting mentally. Manasikam. Manasikam. Mentally, I am chanting. But the problem, before talking the problem, out of these two, oppose the Uchaihi is to benefit others. Whereas the other two, which is Upamsu and Manasika, to benefit us. Out of Upamsu and Manasika, what is great is Manasika. Manasika chanting is 1,000 times greater than Upamsu. It's greater than Upamsu. But there is a problem. What's the problem? We won't be able to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 16 into 108 times Manasika. We won't be able to do it. Therefore, gracefully, our acharyas have recommended that you take up Upamsu way of chanting Mahamantra. That is what we are all practicing. When we practice at Upamsu with attention, without any offenses, then we can go to the stage of Manasika Dhyana, Manasika Japa. Until that this get cleared, we have a hand of that, hold of that. We will not be able to do a meditation, or we won't be able to do Japa in the Manasika way. In Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna talk about dhyana, it's all about manasika. It's all about manasika. And then I think I'll just stop here, given that the time is very short. But for one to get to the manasika, not very short, that's a perfect time. I don't say very short. Time is good. So for question and answer, I mean. So for one to get to manasika dhyana, Krishna says very clearly in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what are the requirements? What are the requirements? Buddhya vishuddhaya yuktaha dhrityatmanam niyamyacha shabdadin vishayams tektva raga dvesha vyadosyacha vivikta sevi lagvasi yata vak kaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nitya vairagyam samuparshitaha. He says this one. And also he goes on the 53rd sloka, ahankaram balam dharpam kamam krodam parigraham vimucha nirmamo shantaha brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, meaning one come to that stage of happiness, bliss, when one goes through this list of things. Those lists, kindly please refer to Bhagavad Gita, Sloka 51, chapter 18, Sloka 51 through 53. We will know what is the requirement for one to do dhyana, how one can fix their mind. When unless until that those things are satisfied, it is very difficult for one to really focus on. To conclude, we saw that manasika, the manasika dhyana is not possible. Therefore, acharyas have recommended upamsu. That is what we are all chanting. So please, let's all chant in the way that the acharyas have recommended. Sometimes holding the chanting, and we do manasika, but eyes opened on watching the computer, doing Facebook and messaging and all. That is not manasika. Manasika does not mean just not moving the lips. Manasika means also focusing on the sound vibration without uttering it. That is manasika. Simply having the chanting bag in the hand, that is not manasika. Just lip movement doesn't make it as a, not having lips movement does not make it as manasika. That should be very clear. So therefore, upamsa is very better. And then just to recap, we saw the glories, glories of Vyasa, because we cannot completely glorify him. Our words are limited. So we also saw how one should pick a place, pick a proper environment, pick a proper time, and then how one should do dhyana or japa, meditation, is also very important. Therefore, what is going to coming up attraction is what is that Vyasa concentrated, meditated upon, right? That is going to be the next verse. Next following verse are very, very nice, interesting, inspiring verses. How he was contemplating, what is that he was meditating upon, what he was thinking about. That is what is coming up in our next sloka, sloka number 60. With that said, please forgive me for any offenses or any mistakes that I might have committed, and correct me if there is anything, and we can open up for any discussion at this point. It's 8 o'clock. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for your wonderful lecture, and I would say like more inspiring and motivational lecture regarding how should we do chanting, how we should ask questions. So Prabhuji, you emphasized one point on like meditation and dhyana, and you mentioned regarding like chanting like Uchchai, Upamshu and Manashi. So when you recommend that you should do dhyana, I know that during our normal chanting, when you are doing our prescribed rounds of chanting, we should do like Upangshu. So when we are doing our meditation, can we do like Manashi chanting that time when we do our dhyana?
Mataji, repeat one more time, sorry.
Oh no, I'm just asking like you emphasize the point of dhyana or meditation. So, but like during our chanting, you mentioned that we should do like Upangshu chanting, like little bit pronouncing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so that we can also little bit hear that. But like during our dhyana, can we do like Manasi chanting?
Yes, yes. Manasik chanting, every one of us should practice. Chanting is, Manasik chanting can be done, or more than Manasik chanting. Manasika meditation is based on really meditating upon the beautiful form of the Lord, His pastimes, His glories, His attributes. What are the special vishesha, special things about the Lord? Those things are the things that we can meditate upon. Whereas when it comes to chanting, what has been recommended for us is to do the chanting in the way that we are all doing now, given 16 rounds. But after doing 16 rounds, then we can want to try a Manasika chanting, we can do that also.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And also I got a little bit distracted on the point of Pancha Mahayagya. So you mentioned that who are like Parama Bhaktas, it's not that they are ignoring the Pancha Mahayagyas, but they don't devote their time in Pancha Mahayagyas. But what is recommended for normal devotee or who are trying to be devotees? They should be involved in Pancha Mahayagyas.
Yes, Pancha Mahayagyas, you all know this one. Pancha Mahayagya, Brahma Yagya, Manushya Yagya, Deva Yagya, Rishi Yagya, Bhuta Yagya. All these are 5 Mahayagyas. You can just, it's easy to apply those things in our day-to-day life. Excuse me. So by reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, we are doing a yagya to the rishis who have given this knowledge to us. Very simple. We can do this every day as a yagya, just swadhyayam, that's called swadhyayam. Just by reading every day, we are doing a yagya and showing a gratitude to the rishis. Bhuta yagya means not only my family members, but the doing for living entities. You know, when we eat something, we can put some of those things, remains or whatever it is. In India, this is natural. People give something to the cows outside or some animals outside. They just keep it and those animals comes and eat. Sometimes people have a habit that if they offer something, they take a part of it before they consume, go to the terrace and keep it to the somewhere where the birds like crow come and take it. So this is Bhuta Yagya. We can all do that also. We can also do that also. The Manushya Yagya is our mankind, our people. We have to help people. We have to help people. But someone was asking this question in the class, Maharaj class, that I can't remember the exact question, but the question is, should we help a non-devotee or not? I'm paraphrasing the question. should we help the non-devotee or not? This is not even a question that we should ask. In my opinion, we should not even ask this question. Why? We are differentiating. That means we all want to be like Prahlad, but we are cultivating a mood of Prahlad Maharaj went to his father and said, Father is asking Prahlad, what did you learn in school? Prahlad said, Father, I didn't like the way that they're teaching. I didn't like the way they're teaching. What you don't like? Tell me that. They're telling us, they're telling this, the Devatas are your enemies and Asuras are your friends. And Hiranyakashipu said, well, that's a perfect curriculum. That's exactly, I signed on the curriculum. They're teaching exactly what I told. And Prahlad said, but I could not differentiate between good and bad. I don't see this is Devatas, this is Asuras. For me, everyone is Atmas, Jivatmas. And we here asking questions like, should I help you going on the street and someone has fallen, fainted and falls off? Do we think he's wearing a kanti? Do we have to check whether he's having a kantimala, he's having a tilak? Did he chant 16 rounds? Has he been initiated? Come on. What type of human are we? We have to help people. But when we help, Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu. We have to mentally meditate. Krishna, I'm helping this person, but I don't want anything in return. I don't want good karmas. I don't want anything. It's all yours. I'm doing for your sake because this Jivatma is part and parcel of you. Therefore, I'm helping not for popularity, name, and etc., not for good karma. So, Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu, when we meditate in that way, we can help anyone and everyone. What's the problem in doing that one? So, like that, I think I try to address I addressed most of it. And Devatas, Devata Yagya is, sometimes we get to an extreme fanatic mode of, of course, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is Brahman. We all know that. But that does not mean that other Devatas should be ill-treated, disrespected, and think they are cheap. By doing that, we are committing offenses. Therefore, when we do yagyas and yagam and homam, there are many Devata names comes. It's not only about Krishna all the time. There are many Devatas being invoked. So that is the way that we offer our respects to the Devatas. Like that, we can do every single thing pretty much every day. Does that answers your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, that answers. Thank you so much for your answers and for your class. Hare Krishna.
Anyone has any other?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu. Prabhu, I had a question on the offenses and the chanting. For the Upamsu chanting, we know that all these are the 10 offenses. So the same offenses also apply to Manasik chanting, Prabhu?
What offense? The 10 offense?
Yeah.
One cannot do Manasika Dhyana unless they are offenseless in Upamsa Dhyana. So for one to do Dhyana, because there are big sections of requirements. Unless and those requirements are fulfilled, one cannot be able to do Dhyana. It's called Dhyana Nishta, the complete Dhyana. This is what is told in Sloka 51 to 53 in 18th chapter. Kindly please refer to those things, which is a prerequisite for one to become Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, for one to have the vision of Atma, for one to be completely focused. So these are the requirements. It's very difficult otherwise. This is what the scripture says.
Yes, so probably follow-up question. So you mentioned that after the 16 rounds of chanting, we should try the Manasik chanting, but how do you know that we are chanting offenselessly so that we can try the Manasik?
I just encouraged Priya Mataji because she wanted to give a try. But there is nothing wrong in trying. It's not that we should not touch that area. We can always, let me tell you, meditation, the great sages, they meditate upon the name of the Lord, the form of the Lord, the qualities of the Lord, and his activities. of the Lord. So we just close our eyes, because we cannot really meditate for a long time. We take one aspect of Krishna, just one aspect of Krishna. It says Sarveshware. Sarveshwara is one aspect of Krishna. Swarupa is one of the Lord as Swarupa and Swabhava, right? One of the qualities is Sarveshwara. So close your eyes and think how Krishna is Sarveshwara. Just contemplate on. It doesn't require much effort for us to contemplate how Krishna is Sarveshwar. He is a complete Ishwar. He is a Parameshwar, Parameshwar. Just close your eyes, because it's just thoughts start running around Krishna. He is a creator. He is a maintainer. He is a destroyer. What is it? I can't remember. Everything comes from him. Everything goes back to him. Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Rudra are part and parcel of him. He is also, Paramatma is within. Just I'm speaking now these things. The meditation can be in such a way that just take one aspect of Krishna and meditate on that one. So that meditation can be there also. Not that what I'm saying is that one should not try any of these things. We should try these things. But when we try more of Krishna's pastimes, qualities, and things like that, then the next level of focusing on Paramatma with how we want to completely engage our mind and senses will be easier. So we all have to practice Manasika Dhyana for sure. That is a recommendation also, to think about Krishna's forms and names and pastimes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The point I'm trying to say is, if I was confused, what I'm trying to say is sometimes people leave up these things and go to the forest and try to take up a serious meditation without even clearing off the foundation things. That is why I'm just trying to say that is not possible. If that helps. One cannot just jump directly to that one unless and until do this one. So this should also happen. That should be tried. We can give a try to those things also. We should try, in fact, but not giving up the way that Acharyas have recommended to us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Prabhu, I have a quick question. I just missed one of those divisions of the day. You said the day is divided into 5 categories. First is the third one. What was the third one, Prabhu?
Ijya.
Vijaya. And what is that?
Ijya means worship. Worshipping the Lord.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. That is the actual worship that happens, the deity worship. That is Ijya. So it can be doing Harati and so forth. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful lecture, Prabhu. Prabhu, you mentioned in the sloka also, and you kind of stressed the point that Vyasadeva is residing, and it doesn't say was residing. I thought you would touch upon that a little bit, but can you say something more on that, Prabhu?
Yeah, I don't have the address, unfortunately, to touch more upon that. I know you're going to India, and I know you're planning to go visit it. I don't have the address. Maybe you'll be visible for your eyes. You can give a try.
So, we read that he is in a different dimension, right, Prabhu? That is the understanding. Is that correct? So
dimension
meaning, but not visible to our eyes. So even if we go to Badrikashrama, no, it's not visible to our eyes.
Yeah. The best way of understanding this, Venumada Prabhu, he is visible. He is there. For example, I can see you, right? If you turn, and this may not be the right example, but I'll try. you can I can see you, but then if I take this one and close it right up on you, then I won't be able to see you, right? So you are always there. Me putting some object in front of you is blocking me to see you, correct?
Yeah.
So our karma vasana, karma vinay, those are the things which is blocking us to see Vyasadeva. He is not hiding himself. He is not keeping himself invisible. He is not a magician to do that. I will not be visible for these eyes. It's not like he is as he is sitting there happily, but we are blocked to see him. That's exactly what Krishna said in the Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga in the 11th chapter. Arjuna wanted to say, Krishna, I want to see you, whatever you said in the 10th chapter. You said, Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. You said, you're Aditya, you're Kartikeya, you're Surya, you're Chandra, you're Brihaspati. I want to see that. You spoke all this. I want to see that. And Krishna said, well, you can see. Nothing has changed. It's there. You can see. But Arjuna said, I can't see it. Well, not with these eyes. Divya Chakshuhu. Then he gave the eyes enabled for him to see the Vishwarupa. That doesn't mean Vishwarupa happened after this question. Vishwarupa was existing even now, all the time. It is Arjuna who could not see it because he didn't have the vision. Vyasadeva exists. We don't have the vision to see him because of our karmas.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, I think we had to wrap up here. We already went over time. Thank you, Ramacharya Prabhu. Back to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it was a very nice class, Prabhu. Try to get some time for morning slot also. I think definitely we can benefit a lot. So many points you covered so nicely. So thank you so much for such a nice class. I would just like to make a few announcements. So tomorrow, as all of you know, we are going to have Rath Yatra this year. 9th July is the date assigned in Krivpur Park. The park is reserved now. We have the cart also very much reserved. We got the DT also, coming from Chicago. So everything has very much kind of put into place to have an awesome Rath Yatra.